This is Mag212, and this is my modification guide for the Nerf N-strike Elite Hyperfire. On the screen is a table of contents telling you what different modifications I will be performing. In order to modify the Nerf Hyperfire, you need to take it apart, so take your screwdriver and unscrew all of the screws. Once you've unscrewed all of the screws, you have to take off this back orange piece. Please note that you don't need to unscrew these two screws, and you probably shouldn't. Now is the time to start gently prying apart both halves of your Nerf blaster. First, we're going to be removing a two-part lock. It's a mechanical trigger lock and also an electronic lock, which does not allow you to fire the blaster unless you have a magazine inserted. To take out this lock, take your screwdriver and unscrew the two screws that are holding down this orange plate. Now gently remove the plate and expose the locks underneath. You can take out this electronic switch, which is the electronic lock, and then just take your wire cutters and cut off the switch. Now you can remove this plastic piece right here, and there's also another piece that you will need to remove right here. You don't need these three pieces and you can throw them out. Now strip the yellow and blue wire, and I have them right here. You're going to be connecting them and bypassing the lock by soldering them together. All that's left to do now is to tuck the wires back in and reinsert the orange plate. To remove the lock that prevents you from firing with the access door open, unscrew this screw holding down the orange plate. Flip off the plate, and then you can gently tweeze out the electronic lock. Much like before, you need to cut the lock off. Now take the yellow and brown wire and solder them together to bypass the lock. We will now be rewiring the motors and removing resistance. In order to do this, you need to remove the two screws from the bottom two ports of the motor. After doing so, use your screwdriver and gently pry up the entire motor cage. Unscrew this screw holding down the circuit board and desolder every one of the two motor leads for each of the motors, so that's 4 total. I'm taking my soldering iron and I'm trying to melt the solder off so that I can remove the board. Now I'm going in with my wire cutters and very gently cutting and removing the circuit board from the motors. You have to be careful or else you're going to rip off your leads from the motor and you won't be able to rewire it later. Upon removal, you can throw away these. Now find the back of your motor cage. You'll know it's the back because it has a rubber skirt. Now solder a wire from the front prongs of the motor. It should look like this. And you take that wire, which will be positive, and solder it to the motors. You do the same for a negative, and see now I have 2 parallel wires. I'm taking the positive red wire from my Hyperfire and soldering it to the front wire. And solder the brown wire from the Hyperfire to the back wire of the motor. Now I'm just putting back this wire cover, and I'm also going to put back the access door / pusher. Now I'm going to be rewiring the battery tray to a 3 AA holder, which will run off 3 AA sized IMR batteries. Take some pliers or cutters and rip out the tabs in the battery tray so we can fit the holder. Now I'm taking some tin snips and cutting this large tab so that I have room to put in my battery tray. You can use whatever tool you'd like, but this is what's most convenient for me. Make sure you solder the black wire to that spring and the red wire to that metal plate, and secure the tray with Velcro or hot glue. I'm going to quickly pan over the blaster so that you can see the insides. This is what the inside of your gun should look like before you close it up. Finally, take your other half of the blaster, put it back on, and reinsert all the screws. That's the end of my modification guide on the Nerf Hyperfire. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I hope to see you all next time.